I last left you at the Dolce & Gabbana exhibition at the end of week 1 of my jewellery course in Rome. Now it's time for week 2, so let's get started. It's week 2. Max is arriving in 4 days, and this week we've got quite long days. I mean, they're normal working days, but in comparison to the 8:30 till 1 PM that we've been doing, and in 35-degree heat, we've still got drawing sessions in the morning, which I'm really excited about. Then in the afternoons, we're starting to make an actual ring. We're initially going to make a wax prototype model of it, which is then intended to be used to cast the silver or the bronze into that exact model. I'd already come up with a few designs for practice, but I ended up deciding to make a ring with the illustration that I did a while ago of 2 bunnies cuddling, asleep together, and I decided to make that in a little 3D form on top of the ring. This week's going to go quickly, Max is going to be here soon, and then it will all almost be over. So, let's get going. Week 2 started with a flower exhibition. It reminded me a lot of this year's flower exhibition at Saatchi, and I think it might have even included some of the same artists. Then in the afternoon it was to the jewellery lab to start making the wax models of our rings. First we had to cut a slice of wax to make the base of the ring for us to eventually carve into. It was back to that coping saw, and I remember struggling with it a bit after a long hot day. Then I drew my rabbit design a few times on a piece of paper to get to know how the shape worked in the geometric way rather than in the emotional way I usually draw. This helped me copy my drawing onto the wax without any issues.
Let's go, settle down.
Then there was a lot of filing to get it ready for the design.
I'm doing this.
You're amazing. That's so great.
Thanks. I don't know if it will work. I imagine once I start actually carving it, it will all go.
Yay, good for you. I'm not that ambitious. I'm kind of like...
I mean, it's my downfall, to be fair. What are you making?
I am making 2 rings, you know, like crowns or the top of buildings, but 2 of them that go together.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Oh, that's really cool.
Now on to week 2, day 2. This is today's lunch, which is when we gave our wax rings a rest and started making a piece of jewellery using goldsmithing techniques. We were working with brass. I decided to make a hairpin to match the rabbit ring. This started with gluing my design to the small square of brass to use as a guide of where to cut the saw.
Try not to push too much because the blade will do its work.
Given my quite strong struggle cutting a straight line into the wax the day before, I was surprised with how easy I found it cutting out the shape of the rabbits in brass. Luckily, as you can see, it went really well, and I had my rabbit shape. Then, of course, it was time to file it down. I got to work smoothing down the edges I just cut. To accompany this is a lot of sanding. Now, onto another one of my favourite days of the course. Week 2, day 3. Today, we are at, where are we? We're at some sort of museum. Today, we're at the Etruscan Museum and we're having an explore around this amazing, beautiful garden. It's only 9 AM or something like that. It's over 30 degrees already. So we've all started running into the fountain. There's a lot of drawing and jewellery inspiration here, isn't there? Have you got anything to say?
Hey!
So you're running around in a load of sprinkling water in this incredible garden next to a nymphaeum in an Italian garden in the morning is exactly what I want out of life. This is exactly why I applied for this opportunity. These sorts of opportunities in life are everything I want. To get to run around in water in an incredible Italian garden. It's a once in a lifetime opportunity. It is a little dream. I'm so happy. It's exactly what I deserve. The rest of my life just needs to be moments like this. One of the most beautiful places I've ever seen in my life. Nymphenburg Palace in Germany was the most beautiful place I've seen, and then it was Rome in general. But now it's just this villa, whatever it is. It's some sort of villa that's been turned into a museum. I think it's the Etruscan Villa. It's the most beautiful place I've ever seen. Now, if I ever get rich, I'm never going to be happy until I have a house with a garden that looks like this. And I'm never going to be happy until I have a nymphaeum. I don't need to explain why it's called a nymphaeum, because if you look at it, you can just see that it's a nymphaeum, because it looks like one, whatever that is.
So tell me if I'm on your mind. We could have a real good time.
Then it was back to the jewellery workshop for the afternoon. I've got like that so far.
You can try to maybe put your thing here.
Oh, that's a good idea. I hadn't even thought of that. On this day, I finally got access to the tools that had been dangling down the side of the desk. I got to use this small silver drill type thing that cuts shapes into wax and metal. I thought it would be perfect to carve out the details for the 2 tiny cuddling bunnies into the wax.
How's it going?
It's actually going alright. It's not that bad yet.
Vabbè, io ti ho detto di venire qua, ma lei arriverà per...
Yeah, the corners are hard, so it like flies off. Yeah. The bloke next to me, who was from Florence, helped me a lot with changing the blade on the silver drill tool, as I couldn't quite get the hang of how to change it, which was quite embarrassing because literally everyone else could. I need a smaller tool. Do I need to ask for help for that one?
I don't know if I have more than one.
That one?
I think this should be good.
Do you know how to change it? Jeffrey even let me borrow a little wooden tool he'd brought with him that cleverly held the ring in place without damaging it while you worked on it. It was incredibly fiddly work, so that ended up being incredibly useful. I'm not sure I could have done it in as much detail and as well as I did if I hadn't had that little tool. I switched between larger and smaller blades to carve out the main lines, as well as their tiny details like their little paws and eyes. Now I had just one day left to finish the wax casting of the ring, and I was very almost ready to cast it. Now, on to the final day of week 2. It's Thursday, the last day of week 2, because we've got Friday off. Today we're going to visit the Bulgarian Museum. We got to the Bulgari boutique just as the shop was opening, so it was very fun seeing the blinds go up. We were given a special tour just for us. Barbara seems to be very well connected. We did later find out that she actually draws for Bulgari. She is an incredible woman, very interesting, very exciting, very fun. She is exactly what I want to be. It was one of those experiences that made me wish I had money. Everyone just treats you so much better and so much nicer to you when you have money.
The back, yes, you see with the hypnotic eyes of the snake, the eyes are made of onyx.
There was a lot of very sparkly, very beautiful jewellery. I completely fell in love with this pink watch and I still think about it. After the visit to the Bulgari boutique, it was back off to the workshop. Now, back to the jewellery making lab. On the way, I'm grabbing some food. The final touch to my wax ring was a thorough sanding to smooth out the edges. Then the very last step, before I had to leave it to be cast, was to polish it with a chemical that gets out all dust and imperfections. Now I just had to go away for the weekend and wait for it to be cast in silver. I have retracted footage of the next few days because it was an adventure of mine that went wrong when I realised that the place I was staying had actually been giving me bed bugs. I was on a day out trying to go to Capri. I was literally on the boat and they texted me back denying that there were any bed bugs, even though I sent them pictures of the bed bugs and the bites, saying that I'd now been a problematic guest and they were kicking me out because I asked them to get rid of the bed bugs. I had to get off at Capri, get straight back on the boat without even going to Capri or seeing it. It was so painful that I try not to think about it. Money as well is ridiculous, but money, I can make money back, sort of, maybe, one day. I was there, I was at Capri, and I was so happy, I felt so happy, and I had to come straight back. I had to come straight back to the hotel where I was staying to quickly grab my things before anyone saw me because the hotel was getting quite aggressive with me and it was a middle-aged man, and some very unpleasant women as well. I very quickly packed my things when I got back quite late in the evening because obviously all the trains were delayed by about 4 hours each, so obviously I didn't get back until really late because Italian trains are on it. But it meant that I then didn't have to interact with any of these very aggressive, unpleasant people who'd kicked a vulnerable 22-year-old woman out onto the streets of Rome for telling them that they had bed bugs and asking them to get rid of it. One way or another, we sorted out another hotel, and it actually ended up being the hotel that I stayed in the first time I came to Rome. Anyway, point is, I grabbed my things, I quickly exited and got a taxi to the new hotel. At the end of week 2, Max was arriving the next day, and I was in my taxi on the way to the new hotel. I'll see you in week 3.